I am so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2I TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs. Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week. Like T2I TV on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2I TV, we engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.
It's another Saturday, and we are here once again on the Step Out with Oscar Bimpong. And tonight, I have got a powerful man that is going to talk to us about things about the young people in diaspora, and it's going to be an amazing discussion. I've been having some chat with this man behind the scenes, and there's a lot to share. You can't afford to miss this. If you are watching this, I will encourage you to share to somebody to have an opportunity to really watch this. And I always want to also make this thing straight, that every parent should watch this with their children so that you understand what is actually going on in the things that is going on outside our homes. There is a lot that is going on that parents are not aware. Sometimes the system is not even aware, but they need to be addressed. Now, before I go on to my guest, I just want to really talk about the sponsors of this show. This program is sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy. Train to Inspire Consultancy is your business training and consulting firm. It's for all your business training as a business startup, SME, or corporate entity. We also work with schools in colleges, universities, and also in second cycle institutions in relation to the personal development of students. Also, ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. ALS says if you are stranded at the port, call them and they will sort you out. Also, ZPay Ghana Limited, your remittance and mobile money company based in Ghana. They just launched their USSD code *270# for mobile money. Just dial it on your phone and register for ZPay mobile money. Then Wheels for Sure, your car leasing for every credit. Wheels for Sure says it doesn't matter your credit. You can walk out of the garage with a car of your choice. Now, during COVID season, a lot of people don't want to take public transport, but they also don't have the means to really get the car of their choice because they don't have the right credit. Who's for Sure says contact them and you are going to walk out of the garage with the car of your choice. When you call them, quote T2I 2020, and they are going to give you a very good deal. If you want to contact any of our sponsors, the numbers are scrolling on the screen. Take them and contact them. Also, if you want to sponsor any of our shows, if you want to support what we are doing, if you want to invest in what we are doing, for us to reach more people, for us to really engage on a different level, then take the number for T2I TV UK or Train to Inspire consultancy number, and let's talk. Trust me, we as a consultancy firm, in return, is also going to support your vision and help you to strategically position yourself in the market. Now, my guest is seated, and the question is, who do I have on the hot seat today? My guest is the director.
Hi there, my name is
my guest is the director of Salam Project, a cultural youth and community initiative. He is the co-founder of UK Black African and African Caribbean Awards, and he is a regular contributor to BBC News, Sky News, LBC, and Talk Radio. He is in the person of Ismael. Please welcome to Step Out with Oscar Bimpon, and you are live on T2I TV UK.
Thank you for the great honor on being on your show, sir.
Thank you very much. How has your day been?
My day's been very productive with the children, with the family, and doing some work, some administration. So yes, ready to go.
Yes, there is no more weekend, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't exist.
Exactly. Now, our topic for discussion is finding solutions to crisis confronting African youth in diaspora. Now, before I go on for us to delve into this, I really want you to talk to me or talk to our audience in relation to you growing up and today's generation. What is missing? What is actually the difference?
Okay, I would say in today's world, because of the economy, because of the financial strains on family, a lot of families, the mother and the father, in most cases, are both working. Because this being the case, sometimes the parents don't get to spend as much time as they should with their children. So even though the parents are present, the ones in a two-parent family, okay, because they're both out working, they become negligent, unconsciously negligent of their children. That's the first issue. The second issue, we have issues, especially here in the UK, of crisis amongst identity crisis. So we have young people whose families are from back home in Africa or in the Caribbean, who say, we are Ghanaian, we are Nigerian, we're Jamaican, we're Bayesian, we're Trinidadian, but the children are born and raised here. So what happens is when the young people reach a certain level of adolescence, the challenge becomes to balance their British identity growing up here in the UK and adopting their cultural heritage from their parents and trying to find a way to balance it within themselves. Because sometimes some of our parents, they say, you're not British, you're Nigerian. You're not British, you're Ghanaian. Or you have some parents who teach the opposite. You're not Nigerian, you're British. You're not Ghanaian, you're British. Whereby, in my opinion, we should be telling our young people, you are British of African heritage. So the young people could understand, yes, I'm British, I'm born and raised in Britain, and my heritage is of African heritage. So this helps young people to balance their heritage and their citizenship. So because of the identity crisis, this can lead to many issues. The third issue is divorce is very rampant in our communities. The reality is divorce is rampant in all communities, every community. But pertaining to our community, divorce is very rampant. And many academic research and study has shown once divorce is set in the household, if it's not managed properly with the young people end up in delinquency, end up in underachieving, end up with other social issues. And one of the how can I say, the results of divorce is another issue is trauma. Some of our young people, they've witnessed things. They've witnessed their friends getting stabbed. Some of these are clients that I work with of African heritage. They've witnessed their friends getting stabbed. They've witnessed their friends getting shot. They've witnessed a parent being attacked, witnessed a parent passing away. So this leads to trauma. And within our culture, there's not an understanding, by being honest, and this is not only solely to our culture, it's within many cultures, that we need to treat that trauma with counseling, with speaking therapy, which are traditional African therapies. We're told just to, yes, okay, get on with it. But this trauma can lead to other issues. Likewise, delinquency, underachievement, and many issues. So, and also the social economic circumstances that as we know, especially in the UK, most African and Afro-Caribbean families live in social economical locations around the UK. So that brings on another issues as well. So I would say these are the main issues that are facing our young people here in the UK and around Europe, Amsterdam, in Holland, France, Germany, Belgium.
Wow. I really want to pick one on divorce, because you made mention of two parents, all of them working, and there is a challenge. Now, when it comes to one parent looking after these children, then what's going to happen?
Yes, in most cases, it's very tough for, in most cases, it's the mother. You do have some single parent families headed by the father. The mother, it's important for the mother to understand. We know our women are strong. Okay, we know that our women are strong. Sometimes our women feel they could do everything. Likewise, some of our men think they could do everything. Men can't do everything. Women can't do everything. There needs to be an understanding of a balance for our young people. So I'm saying to all the mothers out there, if you're divorced or separated, there's some young people I was working with where their fathers were here illegally and their fathers got taken away by immigration back to Ghana and to Nigeria. Okay, so sometimes they're forcibly separated, and that experience gave trauma to the kids. Anyway, it's important for the young person, the young boy especially, to get a mentor. So it's the job of the mother, if possible, to find someone within her social circle. They must be vetted, of course, who could be a mentor to the young child. Now, the mentor could be someone from the church, from the mosque, from the community, who is of the same heritage, preferably, and is someone who is doing quite well within society, within the community. So the young person can see, look, I'm a young man of African heritage in the UK. There's sometimes boys cannot relate to their mothers about certain issues. So it's important that the mothers have to understand, and same with the girls as well, that a mentor is needed. So she might have to utilize her brother, her cousin, a family friend. And if it can't be done face to face, because we're living in COVID times, it could be done once or twice a week via Zoom. It could be done once or twice a week on Google Hangouts, on Instagram Live, on Skype. Having a mentor is a great neutralizer for an absent father or an absent mother.
Wow, this is quite interesting, and I think we don't look into the mentorship side. We just have uncles,
Yes,
aunties, cousins who are doing well, but we don't really steer it on that professional level of mentorship, isn't it?
very much so. These are that's one thing we have to say our organization do, whereby we provide mentors to young people. Because we're an independent social enterprise, we charge for the service, but we from our work, we have seen it work. When a young person hasn't got a father present or a mother present, if you replace that energy with a mentor, it can have a very good effect on the young person.
Wow. Now, young people at a certain age, they start really getting into associations and friendships, and this is where they start going on the street, and there is a lot that happens, isn't it? At what age does this happen?
Yes.
And some even start too early. For example, you can be walking on the streets of London and you can see somebody that is about 8, 10 years who is smoking. Now, at what age does this happen, and what impact does it have on these children?
I would say, from my professional opinion, this can start from as early as 9 years old. So our parents have to understand that we have to be monitoring our young children's friends, their social circles, and where they're going. And we have to show tough love, because if we don't show tough love, it can have a serious ripple effect with that could cause the family a great heartache. So another issue is, it's important for the parents to understand, yes, you're going to work, you're going to pay the bills, you're going to save money to send to auntie so-and-so, to your grandmother, to your uncle, to your mom and dad back home. But we have to put aside at least 1 hour, a day, just to socialize with our kids, to let them know, talk to them, ask them, ask me anything. And sometimes we have to make sure our young people are safe, because what it is, our young people are being, how can I say, they're being targeted by gangsters. They're being targeted by drug dealers to transport drugs from one part of London or Birmingham or Manchester to another part of the UK. The drug dealers are not transporting drugs no more.
I think we will come to that.
Okay, but just to let you know, they're going to young people as young as 10 and 11 years old. So don't think it's happening when they're 14, 15. It's starting as young as 10 and 11.
Wow. But I can see young black people, not all of them, but some of them have got so much anger and hatred in a way at such a young age. What really sparks that?
Yes. The anger stems from many different issues. It could stem from an issue with a parent, whereby maybe the father wasn't present, the father never showed love, the father making false promises he couldn't come upon. There's many young people I speak to, and they have issues with their fathers. So they have anger. That's the first thing. The second way how some of them had anger, that many times by the police, they're being harassed, and they haven't reported it, and whereby the trauma that we spoke about earlier. So when you have all the trauma and you're going through certain issues, if you bottle it in, which many of our young people are doing, this is the root cause of many of the anger. So our young people need to be understanding, and they need to understand if they're going through any issues, that they should be speaking to a helpline, whether it's the Samaritans, whether it's the Childline, when it's the NSPCC, or there's one called the Caribbean and African Health Network, which is another helpline where young people can let off steam. Many of our young people are not letting off steam. They're building in all the issues, all the issues they're going through. They're suffering in silence, and this is the root cause of many of the anger. So in short, we need to encourage our young people as well as parents to seek counseling, to speak to a helpline and speaking therapy, because if we bottle in too much, it can have a serious effect in serious life.
Because I believe that, as you are saying, there are all these helplines and there are all this support. But the question is, are the young people even aware of this kind of support?
When I go into schools, youth clubs, youth offending institutions, sometimes no. A lot of the times, no, they're not. But what needs to happen is, it doesn't only need to come from the school. It needs to come from home as well. And sometimes even if a parent has a child who's witnessed a knife crime or gun crime or a friend or family member being attacked or witnessed something, the parents have to take it upon themselves to get the young person to phone them. So the parent has to phone the helpline and get the young person to talk, because not every time our young people can speak to our parents. So that we need to, it needs to not only come from school, it needs to come from home as well.
Now there is,
so like our beloved sister said, a lot of our young people are bottling in so much issues. Another thing which I never get to add as well, Britain is the best place to live if you're a person of the African diaspora. This is my opinion in the Western world. Yeah. But Britain suffers from institutionalized racism within many of its institutions. And one of the institutions where institutionalized racism is rampant but subtle is in schools. So many of our young people are victims of institutionalized racism, but because it's coded, because it's subtle, and when they go, it's not dealt with. So many of our young people have anger because we're running a mentor project in a school, predominantly of young people of African heritage. When I go in there, the teachers step out and I say to the kids, tell me the real, pardon my slang. Tell me the real. What's happening here? What's going on? 70% of the young people of African, Afro-Caribbean heritage talking about the unconscious bias racism they go through, not different degrees of racism they go through within the schooling system. And many of our young people are bottling that up because when they go to complain about it, it's not getting heard upon. So we need to be straightforward with you as African communities within the Sunday schools, within the church, within the mosques, the African mosques, the African cultural centers. We need to build forums where young people can express their issues, what they're going through, and sadly, these forums are not available.
Because it's quite revealing anyway, but I'm trying to get my head around a lot of things. But upon all, is it what brings also a level of anger, a level of fighting, a level of trying to really be defensive among young Black people in school, leading to permanent exclusions?
That's one issue. The second issue, society are perpetuating and pushing this hip hop culture, this drill culture, this grime culture. Don't get me wrong, the rappers in hip hop, in grime and drill, there are some who are very positive. They rap about learning your history, learning your culture, being good. But sadly, when you're listening to our music now, at least 80, I would say, I'm being polite, 90% of our music that our young people are listening to are saying, killed the person, I got beef, aggravation with you, I want to fight you. So if our young people are listening to this music every morning, every afternoon, every night, for years, that is subtle brainwashing, that's normalizing violent behavior. So us as African communities, I'm going to say something very controversial. We need to find a way to boycott our artists, our nieces and nephews who are producing this filth that's destroying our young people's minds, because they're normalizing fighting, they're normalizing delinquency, they're normalizing crime, criminal behavior, fighting and killing to our young people. So the filth among the artists, music that's being pushed to our young people. We know as African people, we love music. So the people are using music as a vehicle to promote hatred, anger, killing, murder, drug dealing, misogyny to our women, disrespect to our women, and many other indecencies. And these things are poisoning our kids. So we need to counteract that. The families, as a solution, what we need to do as parents, we need to be playing positive music in the household to counteract that. We need to find positive motivational speakers like Les Brown, Eric Thomas, and many others, and play them in the household. So kids might not get it now, but when they're out on the street, they might say, "Oh, Les Brown said this. Eric Thomas did say this." Because it can't just be the parent's voice. There needs to be several voices promoting positivity, because there's at least 20 negative voices out there our young people are being affected with outside of the home.
Are we our own downfall?
That's a very good question. I would say 50% yes. We are our own downfall because many of our communities are apathetic. Many of our communities have the resources. For example, the African churches, the African mosques, they are a resource, whether we like it or not. It's nice to have the Sunday school, it's nice to have the madrasas within the African community, but we need to start thinking about having regular fortnightly or monthly life skills classes within the madrasas, within the Sunday schools, and we need to be facilitating leadership courses in the churches and in the madrasas that are of African heritage, because these are the places where are safe hubs for our young people. And in the UK today, as well as we know in Ghana, Nigeria, there are many African-owned mosques and churches, and they can help to create the change. The other 50%, I would say, is institutionalized racism, is systemic racism, and also another thing I would say is apathy. Let's say apathy. A lot of us think, oh, leave it to the government, leave it to the council, leave it to that lovely white woman in the council, that lovely white woman who's a humanitarian. I'm not saying nothing that is bad, because they're lovely white women who help the community. They're lovely people in the council, they're lovely home office, but we can't just rely on them. We need to be instigating our own initiatives and our own programs in self-reliance, like the beloved Kwame Ture taught us. Not Kwame Ture, the former Prime Minister of Ghana. What's his name? Forgive me.
Kwame Nkrumah.
My brain's got Kwame Nkrumah. Thank you.
Yes, yes, because
I'm getting old.
Yeah, but there is one thing I want to ask you. Are we united?
Like other communities, no communities, because I do consultancy work with different communities. What I'm noticing and what I'm seeing is I only thought Black communities weren't united, but I was very shocked when I was asked to do some consultancy work with various so-called BAME communities. And this is the same issue. No communities are united. Not even the white English communities are united. So you have the British, the white English, the white Scottish, the white Irish, and then among them you have the Northerners and the Southerners among England, the London versus the North Manchester. They hate each other. So like other communities, we are not united. But I don't believe it's down to unity. I believe it's quality over quantity. I believe if there's a band of people who are doing the work in empowering our young people, helping our young people, because we're living in the age of transparency, I believe the action will speak louder than the words, saying that there are some good people from our culture, our heritage, who are doing the work. What I pray for is that we could find a way to build a network, like a railway network, where we can all benefit each other and work together to benefit our communities.
Wow. But I think if you give it a skill, you can say that some of them are more united than others, isn't it?
Sorry, say that again, please.
What I'm saying is that if you give it a scale of 1 to 10, you can say that some communities are more united than others, isn't it?
Yes, 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 that's true. Because they say that the black pound, they said the black pound circulates within the black community in less than 5 hours, whereby the Asian pound stays in for a couple of days and the Jewish pound stays in for a couple of weeks. So yes, we need to build up. And one of the keys to our empowerment is economics. Because if all the African and Afro-Caribbean communities supported African and Afro-Caribbean businesses, those African Afro-Caribbean businesses can recruit more young African Afro-Caribbean young people, whereby we won't have enough young people unemployed with no opportunities and marginalized, disenfranchised, because we've got many young Black African and Afro-Caribbean graduates from the UK who are graduating from Oxford, Cambridge, all the universities, and they can't get a job. They have to go to McDonald's or Burger King. So if us as African communities supported African businesses, those African businesses could give our young African graduates jobs and opportunities whereby they'll be able to support their families, which will have a ripple effect to support our young people, to give them opportunities where they don't need to rely on other communities.
This is quite another topic for another day, because trust me, man, we just don't support each other. And I think that is the problem that we have. When I see Ismael starting a project and I have got a way to support him, all we do, you talked about apathy. And I think apathy is one of the biggest things that is really killing us. We just fold our arms, watch him how far he can go. If he fails, then we start putting our clapping hands. If he succeeds, that is when we all come together to support him. When it's too late, how can this change?
The sad reality, the only way this could change is if a lot of African and Afro-Caribbean people, we have a mindset thinking a savior will come, will save us. Don't get me wrong. I believe Jesus will come back, peace be upon him. Don't get me wrong. This is not a religious matter. I believe in that. But we need to understand that we have to be the change. And the sad reality is many of the people who you see doing this work against knife crime, youth crime, in most cases, their children have been killed. Their children have been marginalized by the school system, by the system, whereby they've got involved. So we need to find ways to build networks in politics among our MPs on both sides, in the Labour Party and Conservative Party, to build African and Afro-Caribbean business networks and connect them to grassroots facilitators on the ground in London, Birmingham, Manchester, Bradford, Sheffield, Leicester, Nottingham. These are where predominantly our young people are. And hopefully we could find a group of people, like-minded people. I think the only way to do it is through networking and to build bridges within different fragments of our community. Because at the same time I'm talking this about the youth crime, there are many of our young people who are excelling, who are doing good, who are trailblazing. But the sad reality is in some cases, when they're trailblazing, because of the positions they're in, they find it hard to connect back to the grassroots. This is where the issue is. We need to find a way on when our young people excel, trailblaze, exceed in all fields, for them to pass the baton back.
Now talk to me about gang culture and county lines.
Gang culture and county line. Sadly, due to the the reality is, the situation is because of I'm not saying it's the sole issue. On the TV, and on YouTube, gang culture is celebrated, okay? And especially gang culture is celebrated among our people of African and Afro-Caribbean heritage. When we hear the music, many of the music is glorifying gang culture. If we look at a lot of the music videos, a lot of them are stories about someone drug dealing, involved in a gang, if you notice, okay? This has a subconscious effect in our young people. So many of our young people think the only way they can survive in this school, in this society, in this community is by being a gangster. So what happens is there's some people in the community, some of them are planted by outside forces and they sell drugs, okay? Now sometimes, so for example, I pick London. Someone is a drug dealer from London and they know they've got a big drug deal in Bradford. What's happening, they know if they are seen out of London in Bradford, they would be arrested, okay? So what they are doing, they go into the schools, they go into the churches, they go into the mosques, they go into the youth clubs, and they're looking for young people who look innocent, who look naive, who are looking for a father figure to befriend them, and they get them to transport the drugs to Bradford, to Manchester, to Birmingham. To be honest with you, that's old news. What they're doing now, they're getting them to transport the drugs to Paris, to Amsterdam, to Berlin, because of the Eurotunnel, and to Brussels. So they utilize this, they're using our young people, they're using them as drug mules. The same issue that many of our young women are going through from Africa and the Caribbean, when they offered money by drug dealers to transport drugs to the UK, they're doing this in the UK to our young kids. And they're giving the kids £50. So as you know, if you're an 11-year-old person and you're given £50, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to say no. So this county lines issue is an epidemic. Is an epidemic among our community. Is an epidemic in London. Is an epidemic in Birmingham, Nottingham, Leicester, Manchester, Sheffield, and Bradford among African, Afro-Caribbean kids. So I'm here to say to parents, be wary. Of course, be diligent, be smart, be intelligent. Look up the word county lines in Google, and then you will see the signs and traits, because they're coming for our young people. And this is criminalizing many of our young people, because when they're getting caught by the police, the kids, they can't tell on the local drug dealer, because in most cases, if they do, the drug dealer will threaten their siblings or their parents.
Wow.
So even the parents will tell the kid, don't tell them, don't tell the police. So this is a big epidemic in our community.
This is quite deep, isn't it?
It's
quite deep.
Very deep.
Wow.
Very deep. So I'm calling on all youth workers, all youth practitioners. We need to find a way to work together so we can help our young people going through these issues. I'm calling that we should be going into churches for Sunday schools, because this is where we can't only rely on the school. We have to be in, because our Sunday schools are full of young people. Recently I had to deliver one of these workshops at a mosque madrasa, and I saw 2 young kids there. Something just said to me, I was talking to them, and the imam said, you don't need to talk to these 2. These 2 are young boys. They're good young boys. You don't need to talk to them. Talk to the rest. Then when the imam walked away, the 2 kids he said that were good came to me and they said, listen, what can you do to get out of it? I've been asked to deliver drugs to this and I just do it. but I'm trying to get out of it, but I can't. And the Imam said, these are the two good kids. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. These gangsters, they're not going for the bad kids. They're going for the good ones because they know the good ones won't be looked twice on by the police. So they know what they're doing. So it takes for us as a community to, in our churches, in our mosques, in our community gatherings, to host these awareness programs for our young people. And we need to be, of course, showcasing our role models like yourself, sir, Oscar, like Brother Tony Fernandez. We need to be showcasing you more to our young people in the churches. So within the church, yes, we praise God, and in the mosque, we praise God. We celebrate the beauty and the wonders and the blessings, but we need to celebrate our role models so our young people can see, oh, I could be a broadcaster like Oscar. I could be a community activist like Tony. I could be a doctor like him. I could be a lawyer like him. Our young people need to be seeing these people on a regular basis because our society in the UK, unfortunately, are persistently pushing us in sports, music, gangs. I'm not saying sports and music is bad, don't get me wrong. But if we be honest, we're oversaturated in those departments. But we need to be pushing other things in academics, business, finance, and we need to be celebrating our trailblazers. Because of us, I'm going to say something controversial. Because of our crabs in the barrel mentality, many of our trailblazers, many of our achievers, they hide their achievement, which I can understand because they don't want to show off. But because things are so at a state of emergency proportion, we need to be celebrating our trailblazers so our young people can see them on a regular basis. And the parents, myself included, we need to be showcasing positive role models to our kids at every opportunity, not just once a month, not just once every 3 months, at least 3 or 4 times, or even 5 times a week, because our kids need to be permanently and consistently reminded, because we're seeing the negative reminders coming at least 7 or 8 times a day.
Because I totally agree with you. And the point is that our concentration is just on the spiritual matters. But the problem goes beyond the spiritual matters. The spiritual must be blended with the physical for us to find lasting solutions to these problems. And I think this is where you are, because what I was shocked is that for you to say that they also recruit from the mosque and the churches, it means that we are in serious danger, isn't it?
Yes, we are. We are. So I'm calling on myself as a father and all parents. We have to be on our A game. Yes, we got to raise the money. We got to make the money to pay the bills, to treat the missus up, treat ourselves and treat our spouses. But we have to look out for our kids. We're living in our kids have to understand, our parents have to understand we are living in a state of emergency. And so I have to say one more thing. Don't just think it's just kids from Peckham, Brixton, Hackney, Moss Side, and the ghetto and the inner city. Many of the clients I am working with, their parents are doctors, lawyers, accountants, business entrepreneurs, some cases millionaires. You understand? Because the parent is, you understand? So this is hitting people of all social orders.
Because it used to be only with the deprived communities, isn't it? But now they have really changed the dynamics.
Yes, before it was rampantly among the children of deprived communities, inner city communities, but now it's across the border. Because sometimes when these kids, especially from the affluent families, when they're getting involved in gang crime or county lines, they're not doing it for money. They're doing it, things showing, look, I'm cool. They're doing it for they're not doing it for money. They're doing it to say that they're cool. They're doing it to say, look, even though I'm rich, I can still do it. I can still be the gangster as well. That's how deep this brainwashing of gangsterism has affected our kids. I'm calling for, we as communities, we need to call for a boycott of our young musicians who are promoting persistent gangsterism, crime, and negativity to our young people. As we know, many of the young people doing this music are unaware themselves, so they need to be educated, but we need to find a way to get through to them. We can't just be hearing about shooting, killing, this. And this, by saying to our young people, don't listen to music is not enough. Because the reality is when you're not there, they're going to be listening to the music. Because 7 to 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday, they're in school or college. So they can listen to it there. So that's why I always say at home, please make sure you can play positive music. Play motivational speakers who are promoting positivity. Just play it in the house.
Wow.
And sometimes it could be, hopefully that could penetrate some of the negativity that our kids are subjected to on a regular basis.
Yeah, I call it programming, isn't it? So before you realize, you get programmed. Yeah, you get programmed over a period of time, and it's just normal. I always make an example. The UK drives on the left-hand side. When I go to Ghana, I drive on the right-hand side. Now, when I go to Ghana, because I've been programmed the last 15, 20 years driving on the left, every time I'm going to my car, instead of going to the right, to the driver's side, I go to the left. Just because I've been programmed. And programming can be the most dangerous thing that can happen to anybody.
Definitely.
Wow. Now, I want you to...
It's just programming.
Yes. I just want you to talk to us about knife crime. Why knife and not any other weapon?
Yes. Why, sorry?
Why knife and not any other weapon?
Knives are easily accessible in the UK. Guns, in the UK, we don't really have a gun culture as such. So in the UK, knives have always been prevalent. So whether you're talking about the football hooligans, they predominantly had knives. When you talk about the Teddy Boys, now these are white British gangs, the Teddy Boys, the Punks, the National Front, the BNP, they all had knives. And knives are easy to carry, okay? Now what it is, the reason why most people carry knives, statistically, is because they're scared. They've either been attacked, they've been mugged, or they've been threatened. And they think that the knife will protect them. They don't have faith in the police or the justice system. So they believe by carrying a knife will protect them. Most people that carry a knife are scared themselves.
Wow.
And some people who carry knives, they've seen or witnessed a friend getting stabbed or threatened. My first experience of knives was when I was 11. Someone came to me, said to me, "What are you doing here? You're from that school. I'm from this school." And they put a knife here.
Wow.
And I was 11. And this was over 25 years ago. So this, and the thing is, what our young people have to understand as well is that, and the thing is, when the kids are getting stabbed, 9 times out of 10, they're not reporting it to the police because they will be seen as a snitch. So they suffer in silence. Henceforth, the trauma, suffering in silence, bottling everything up, which can lead to other issues in the future.
This seems to be a complicated issue. Do you think?
And this is another reason. Sorry, before.
Go on.
So this is another reason why many kids are joining gangs. Not everyone's joining gangs to be bad. Many people, or most people, are joining gangs to feel safe. They see it as a support structure, as a safety. That's why there's many decent young children. They're not bad. That's why they're only in the gang for protection. So if you trouble me, my gang will support me. These are the sad issues that are going on. Sorry.
Wow. Do you think this seems to be a complicated issue? Do you think we've got solutions to these problems?
Yes. The solutions to reduce, I can't say to eliminate, the solution to reduce these issues are: one, we need to organize more community programs, whether it's football, self-defense classes, coding clubs, business classes. We need more youth programs in the community. That's one. Two, we need to encourage more counseling, more helplines for people to utilize if they have any issues. Three, we need to promote mentoring among our young people. Okay, so if young people want to go through issues, they say, I can't speak to my mom, I can't speak to my dad, the parents should say, you know what, I'm gonna find you a mentor. Because this is the old African cultural thing, whereby a person would learn how to be a tailor. They would learn under someone, as that person would be like their mentor. So we need to tap into our young people's aspirations from whence they're 12, 13. What do you want to do? I want to be an IT genius. So from 12 and 13, we need to be finding them coding programs, keeping them busy. Four, another thing which I never mentioned is many of our young children, and many of our African brothers and sisters believe this is only an Afro-Caribbean problem, but this is also an issue within African communities as well. That's why it's an African Afro-Caribbean problem. Many of our children are wrongly misdiagnosed special educational needs. Many of our kids have been told they're ADHD, they've got ASD, they've got autism, they've got diaspora, they've got dyslexia, opposition defiance disorder. In most cases, this is not true. What's happened is the teachers, okay, and it's not a race thing, not a race thing. Teachers, when they're teaching, they want everyone to be quiet like this. If anyone is a father or has kids will know, children have a lot of energy, like they got ants in their pants. So the child is like this. They say, oh, something's wrong, he's got ADHD. When most of our kids, so I've worked with young people with these issues, okay? And what we found is they haven't got ADHD, they haven't got opposition defiance disorder, they haven't got diaspora. What it is, they've just got a lot of sugar in their diet, okay? So when they reduce the sugar that they're having in their meals, in their food, become calmer. And when they're doing more exercises, so football or something active in the evening and weekends, this deals with their energy, because some kids got more energy than others. So, and when many of our kids are wrongly diagnosed with these special educational needs, our children start to think, oh, I'm no good. I've got special needs. I'm not going to achieve. If I'm not going to achieve in education, I'm just going to be a Dumbo. And henceforth, that's another reason why some of them get involved in gangs, crime, and so forth, underachievement and so forth. So it takes, like this, the old saying, it takes a village to grow a child. Because we're living in an individualistic society, we need to get back to our traditional African values of a village raising our children.
I think, this, I wish every parent will watch this interview. Trust me, man. I wish every parent will watch this interview. Because trust me, a lot of parents don't even know a quarter of what you are talking about. And lots of parents that I engage in, even myself, I've learned a lot today. Now, before we bring this to a close, I want you to talk to me about prison and the justice system, because statistically, they say half of the BME, half of them are in prison, and this is a huge this is a huge statistic. Does it mean that the justice system is not fair? What actually is the problem?
Okay, our young people are being criminalized by the issues I mentioned earlier on: institutionalized racism, unconscious bias, heavy-handedness from the police. Our music and art perpetuates negative criminality, okay, and other social issues, okay. Now, we as African and Afro-Caribbean people are between 3 to 5% of the UK. They say that. I believe it's a bit more, but according to statistics, we're 3 to 5% of the UK, and I'm talking African and Afro-Caribbean. We make up nearly 25% of the prisons in the UK. One, the reasons being is that we do not, how can I say, we need to be preparing as a community our kids to understand, yes, we're not preparing our kids for the institutionalized racism that this country has. So many of our kids believe they see their white friend do a crime and get off. And sadly, they think, oh, I could do the same too. No. So we need to be preparing our young children. Don't get it twisted. Pardon my slang. Britain is the best place for you to be, the most opportunities, but it's institutionalized racism. So you need to be aware. This needs to be a talk, not only done by parents, it needs to be done by our African and Afro-Caribbean trailblazers, whether it's by YouTube, social media, to prepare our young people. That's the first thing. Second thing, many of our young children, they think crime, they take the crime as prison as a joke. They hear from their friends that they're playing PlayStation, Xbox, so they don't take prison seriously. That's why I'm a firm believer that for certain crimes, our young people should be given community service. Get them to clean the park, not sit on their backside in prison. Get them to clean the parks. Get them to clean the walls. Get them to clean the schools with overalls. If we were to incorporate this into our criminal justice system, you see how much less of our young people be involved. Then I have to be honest, the judges, the juries, the magistrates, the sad reality is majority of them suffer from unconscious bias and institutionalized racism. So when they see a black person being accused of some things, 9 times out of 10, they would say, yeah, he's guilty. Because we have also the tabloid media that demonizes and dehumanizes our people as thugs, as criminals. Okay. The fourth thing is we need more lawyers from our community to look out for our young people. We need more lawyers and more barristers, because what's happened is when some of our young people, many who are innocent, are in the court case, the lawyer defending them has got so many cases, he's not fully equipped. To him is like, just another black boy. Okay, all right, yeah, take the plea. That's it. Because they're overworked and they're under prepared. They're not prepared. So I've met many young people said that their lawyer wasn't even prepared for the case. They were trying to defend them, but using a previous client's information. But he went down. So we put our trust in these lawyers who make so much millions from the criminal justice system. So we need our lawyers to step up, and we need to encourage our families, if our young people get involved in any criminal issues, to go to our African and Afro-Caribbean lawyers. and help, and hopefully they could deal with the cases with more empathy, with more passion and more vigor. And fourthly, we need more African, Afro-Caribbean centric supplementary schools and youth clubs. They could either be separate or together, because we do not have any. We don't have it. Sorry, we don't have enough after school provisions. So our kids after school, their mum and dad finish work at 7 and won't get home until 8. So between 3:30 when they finish school and 8, where are they? Yes, for the first few years they'll be at home, but come on, we're young, we're men. When you're 14, your hormones are left, right, and center. Your ego's out of control. So that's why we need to fight the school. That's why I always say, and I'm not disrespecting them, I believe they're part of the solution. That's why I call on all the African mosques and the African churches in the week, Monday to Friday, even Monday to Saturday, okay? They should be open for our young children, whether it's after school clubs, whether it's a youth club, something to engage our young people between 3:30 and 7, 8 o'clock, so the parents can come and pick them up. Because, and yeah, so that's what I don't want to go on forever, but those are the main issues.
I think I cannot speak for the mosque, but I think the churches are not doing enough. That is my personal opinion.
Yeah. Because we say in our communities, oh, there's no money in the black community. That is rubbish. Among the African and Afro-Caribbean churches in the UK, there are over 180 credit unions that are owned by African and Afro-Caribbean churches around the UK. For those that don't know what credit unions are just one step below banks. So these credit unions can support, I'm not saying for myself, don't get me wrong, just within the churches that you get the money from, they can support youth programs around the country. These credit unions, they can support, instead of giving money, no disrespect, to other communities and other foolish tick box exercises, they can fund community programs in communities to keep our young people out of harm's way.
Wow. To be honest, I really enjoyed this discussion, and I think if you can go on and on, like I would love to go
Likewise,
on and
sir.
on. Yes, because look, I think when we finish this interview, wherever I shared it, I'm going to put a caption that I wish every parent, whether in the UK or even in the Americas, they should watch this interview, because the kind of information that you are giving, I think people should pay for this kind of information. It shouldn't be given free, because you have really opened the minds of parents, the minds of the community.
Yes.
And trust me, this is what we are doing. This interview is going to be on the internet the next 20, 30 years. And it is going to change lives. Why? Because of the kind of information that you gave. Now, before we bring this to a close, I've got so much comments here, but I'm going to read a few of them. I've got Douglas Bundi saying, watching live from Nairobi, Kenya. Then Loris Esiebi says, you are so very right. The young people are bottling too much and suffering in silence. He also says, I believe home is where it all starts. Then he also says, unconscious bias racism. You are so very right. Institutional racism is rife in the UK. He says, Oscar, I agree with you. Some communities are more united than others. And he also said, that is very true. They are trailblazers. They are trailblazers, but they do not pass the baton on. There is a lot of other, our time is already been spent. Before I go, I just want to mention our sponsors. This program is sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy. That is your business training and consulting firm. For all your business training needs, contact them. They also work with schools and colleges, second cycle institutions in relation to their personal development. It's also sponsored by ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. ALS says if you are stranded at the port, call them and they will sort you out. Also, ZPay Ghana Limited, your remittance and mobile money company based in Ghana. They just launched their ZPay mobile money USSD code, and that is *270#. Dial it on your phone and register for ZPay mobile money. Then Wheels for Sure, your car leasing for every credit based in the United Kingdom. Rules for Sure says it doesn't matter your credit history. You can walk out of the garage with a car of your choice. During COVID-19, if you are struggling or you are afraid to go to use public transport, then talk to Wheels for Sure. It doesn't matter your credit ratings, you will still walk out of the garage with a car of your choice. Just quote T2Y2020 when you call them. Also, if you want to contact any of our sponsors, the numbers and contact details are scrolling on the screen. Take it and contact them, and they will sort you out. Also, if you want to sponsor any of our programs, if you want to support what we are doing, just take the number for T2I TV UK or Train to Inspire Consultancy, and we are going to really work with you. Mr. Ismael South, it's been wonderful having you on the Step Out with Oscar Bimpo show.
Likewise, it's been a great honor.
What is your last word for everyone that is watching us?
The last word I'd like to say for everyone, one thing I missed out. Sorry, it's me two things. I'm going to squeeze them in. One thing I missed out that's a great issue in our community is the smoking of marijuana, skunk, and spice. I've done something recently for a Nigerian mosque, and I told them this is an issue. The senior manager said to me, this is not in part of Nigerian culture. I'm trying to tell him, okay, you're right, but this is seriously rampant within Nigerians in the UK. So we need to recognize that we're living in the UK, and we need to understand we're living is a different game. It's a different board game. So it takes new rules. And lastly, there's always hope. We must hope and pray and they know that there's always help on hand. There's many organizations out there. Do not suffer in silence. If your son or daughter gets caught for any crime, this is just a warning sign. Do not think it's going to bring shame on my family. Think I need to get help straight away. That's it.
Wow. Let us hope. But I also heard that hope with action, as you have been doing. Let us hope and
that's it, yeah.
Let us hope and act. And I also want to challenge each and everyone here. Even if you get the opportunity to watch this show later, or you are watching this show now, I will encourage you to share this. Spread this message. Somebody needs to listen to this. Some parents are suffering. They don't even know where to turn to. And Ismael, I want you to put your number out there, your contact details, that any parent that in the near future or tomorrow or today, they will watch this program, they want to contact you, put your number out there and talk to us about the Salam project, yeah, briefly.
Okay, the Salam project, our anti-youth crime initiative. We help and challenge anti-youth crime by doing mentoring, we do tutoring, and we do outreach into schools, youth clubs, and prisons, okay? So if you have a young person who's in need of a mentor or a tutor, because of COVID, it will be done via Zoom or Skype or Google Hangouts. Feel free to call me on 07538 740 The best time to call is between Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Or you could check out our website, www.thesalamproject.org.uk. Our email is admin@thesalamproject.org.uk. Thank you, sir.
Wow. You're
Mr.
welcome,
Oscar.
sir.
Oh.
Yes, and if you want to contact him as well, and you know me, you can get him through me, and I will connect him to you, because the man is doing a very great job, and we need to support people. There is an African proverb that says that you help those that are already climbing the tree, isn't it? Yes, so he's already climbing the tree, so we need to support him. And it's been wonderful having you. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I want to encourage everyone that, look, share this for somebody to have the opportunity to watch this, and also let us work together Black people, in my opinion, are not united. We cannot even partner in business for a year. These are the challenges we are facing. Until we unite and come together, there is no way we can succeed. Unity is strong. When you look at other communities, though they might have their own challenges, but they are united. When we came to London about 2 decades ago, when you go on the streets of Croydon, on the streets of Tottenham, the businesses that were being there were black businesses. Today, they have all been taken by Asian businesses, and they are selling African products. When I go to all these halal shops on the streets, hardly do I even see Asians buying their products. It is only black people that are buying. What is the problem with us? It's because we are not united, because we are not investing in our own, because we are not buying our own. There is a big challenge. And this problem is not only in diaspora, it is also in Africa as well. We buy everything foreign to the detriment of our own. When an African sees his own that have developed a product and another one from China, they will prefer to buy the China one than the Africa because they see their own as inferior. The mindset needs to change. If the mindset does not change, we will be having this discussion the next 50 years. Why? Because we haven't solved the fundamental problem of changing the mindset. We need to change the mindset. We need to love each other. We need to invest in our own. We need to collaborate. We need to partner. And the churches, we are not saying there are no struggles in the churches. You are making money in one way or the other. Invest a portion of it in the young people. Invest a portion of it in your community. There are churches that don't even have food banks. They don't have nothing. During COVID-19, when so many people are struggling, there are churches that have got resources, but they are doing nothing to support. We need to really change our mindset and change the narrative. As he said the black pound stays in a few hours within our community. In Asia, in few days. In the Jews, it stays in weeks. Why? Because we are not investing in our own. So when we get the pound, the next minute it leaves our hands. Why? Because it doesn't circulate among ourselves. The time is not tomorrow. The time is now for change. Let us change our mindset and let us work together, because that is the only way we can succeed. I always say this: Black Lives Matter doesn't matter until we have economic power. When we have economic power, they will listen to us. When you look at now Brexit, now the government is listening to the likes of the Richard Bransons, the Alan Sugars. Why? Because they carry power, economic power. Who are the people that are really speaking for black people? We don't have no economic power. So who is going to listen to us when we don't contribute much to the economy? It is about time. We need to have Fortune 500 black businesses. How will this happen? By investing in our own, by buying our own. This is the only reason where we can succeed as black people. And the time is now. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Ismael, and God richly bless you. And everybody that wasted their time to watch us, God richly bless you.
God bless you, sir. Take care.
Take care, yes. And on Tuesday, I've got a young author who is about 14 years old. She's a very brilliant girl, young girl, black girl. And she's going to talk to us about her book, her journey of becoming an author. You can't afford to miss this. We are empowering the new generation, and that is what this platform is all about. Thank you, and see you Tuesday, coming Tuesday, 8 p.m.
I am so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2I TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs. Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week, like T2I TV on Facebook, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2I TV, we engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.